Greetings and welcome to Wisconsin in Focus, powered by the Center Square. I'm Dan McCaleb, executive editor of the Center Square Newswire service. Joining me today is the Center Square's Wisconsin correspondent, Benjamin Yount. How are you, Ben?
Getting ready to cheer on my National League Central Division champion, Milwaukee Brewers. Got 2 games, Friday and Sunday. We're going to beat the Cubs both days.
That's a bold statement, but the Brewers have already clinched the NL Central and are guaranteed to participate in the Major League Baseball playoffs. Go Brewers. Don't know if they're going to rest their starters or get their rotation set up for playoffs. So I'm not necessarily totally on board with you about sweeping the Cubs, Ben, but we can enjoy the games this weekend and find out. But let's move on to the news, Ben. There are ongoing discussions in Wisconsin about the Milwaukee Brewers, particularly their long-term future outlook in Wisconsin, and whether or not state and or local taxpayers should pay hundreds of millions of dollars to renovate American Family Field, which is home, of course, to the Brewers, to keep the team in the state for decades to come. You wrote this week that members of the Northwoods League signed a letter encouraging state lawmakers to come to terms on a deal to do exactly that, keep the Brewers long term. Ben, first, what is the Northwoods League? And then what's the significance of all this?
Well, I know that as we have covered this story about AmFam Field and the now $600 million in public money that would go, I know that you as the editor and our readers across the state have been dying to know what the Lakeshore Chinooks and the Fond du Lac dock spiders have been wanting to weigh in. The position of the Eau Claire Express is make it or break it. No, the Northwoods League is essentially Wisconsin's minor league baseball teams. The Timber Rattlers, I believe, are a Brewer affiliate, and they're up sort of Appleton, Green Bay. But these are the local teams that you can go to at your local stadium and see for a couple of bucks. This is one of the reasons, by the way, why I absolutely love baseball, because no matter where you live, even if it's not major league affiliate, you can go and you can sit and you can watch professional baseball players, may not be the great professionals, but, young men who still have a love for the game, get paid to play it. And it's a beautiful Saturday afternoon, Tuesday evening in some of these communities. So the Northwoods League has teams in the smaller cities, La Crosse, Fond du Lac, like I said, Wausau. If these are not big cities, Madison is in there. So is Kenosha and Eau Claire, but these are the minor league teams, and they joined what's called the Home Crew Coalition. This is something we've written about before at the Center Square. It's a group of Milwaukee area business leaders who aren't taking a position on who should pay how much. They are clearly, though, saying, guys, let's keep the Brewers in Milwaukee. And these smaller teams echoed that, saying, hey, having a Major League Baseball team in the state of Wisconsin is key. And these are the folks who would know, because I'm sure dozens of people are turning out each night to see the La Crosse Loggers, where you have thousands upon thousands of people turning out at American Family Field. And this letter was a show of support to lawmakers from the baseball community in the state. And they made the same case that we've heard from the Home Crew Coalition. Hey, look, people spend a lot of money at the ballpark. There's a lot of benefits to having this. Milwaukee is a big city. If they have Major League Baseball, we don't want to let that get away. And so this is important, because as you talk about who's going to pay what, state and, as you said, local taxpayers, folks in La Crosse or Fond du Lac or Wausau or Eau Claire, they're not close. We're not talking the wow counties, 20 minutes to the ballpark. These are people who would have to travel from across the state. And so to have a show of statewide support helps sell the idea that, yes, the Brewers and American Family Field are good for the entire state of Wisconsin.
Before I get to my next question, Ben, I do have to comment on the creativity of these minor league, in this case, minor league teams, as you mentioned, their team nicknames. The Dock Spiders, the Woodchuck, the Rapid Rafters, the Mallards. Love the creativity of the team names. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
If I could figure out how to do this maybe next summer, I would love to do nothing more than a Wisconsin road trip and see all of them And if I worked at a sports talk station where this would be allowed, because, I don't think anybody would look too kindly upon me showing up to cover the Wisconsin Senate in a Madison Mallards jersey, but I would absolutely drop the $50-$60 and get a jersey from every single one of these. Who doesn't want to be a proud woodchuck fan? Yeah. That one may be my favorite one. The Wausau woodchuck, not woodchucks. Woodchuck.
Ben, I might reimburse you for that jersey if you do, in fact, go cover the legislature wearing one of them. That would be enough for me to see. Anyway, we have talked about the Brewers and several different plans that have been proposed to renovate the stadium. Obviously, as you mentioned, not everybody's on board with using taxpayer money to help the Brewers to keep them in town, but there's plenty of support for that too. Where are we at with that? I mean, are we still debating several different plans there? And what are the next steps?
We're debating one plan, and this was the plan that we wrote about. Was it beginning of the week or maybe the beginning of last week? The $600 million plan that would require a $200 million buy-in from Milwaukee and Milwaukee County, $100 million buy-in from the Brewers themselves, and there may be a little bit of back and forth over nibbling at the edges, but this is the plan that's going to go forward, and this is the plan that is going to eventually get the votes and become the plan. And we write about this as much as anybody here in Wisconsin. And one of the things that we, and I know it's a tough sell because, there's sort of libertarians and conservatives in Wisconsin and even a number of Democrats in the city of Milwaukee who pound the desk and say, not one dime. Why are we spending taxpayer money on a stadium for billionaires where multimillionaires play a game for children? And as we point out almost every time that we write this is not the time for that argument, because when they built then Miller Park back in 1996, they created this quasi-government thing, the Southeast Wisconsin Professional Baseball Park District, and that's the group that owns the stadium. And because it's a taxpayer-supported group, the taxpayers are going to pay for American Family Field no matter what. There was a piece in the Journal Sentinel on Saturday that asked why Tampa is getting a whole huge real estate development with its new baseball stadium, which, by the way, taxpayers are paying for down there as well, whereas Milwaukee is not. This is the beer district. We have the Deer district down by Pfizer Forum that has bars and shops and restaurants, and there's a hotel that's coming in, and it's where some neat apartments are. And the mayor of the city of Milwaukee said, hey, let's do the same thing at the Brewers. They got these huge parking lots. Let's turn some of those into shops and restaurants and maybe even a hotel or apartments. And the Brewers themselves are tepid at that. The line that we got from Rick Schlesinger, the president of baseball operations, when we talked to him, is they don't want to ruin the tailgate culture that is Wisconsin. And this is what I absolutely love. This is why, American Family Field is my second favorite place to see a ball game, because you literally show up 2 hours before and you grill. You cook, you sit there, you drink beer, you throw bags or cornhole, as some people call the game. I mean, my tailgate setup, I got a pizza oven. I've got 2 canopies. I've got AstroTurf. I was making breakfast at the last game that we went to because I brought my flat top griddle. And that's what makes Brewer baseball so unique. We don't have what they have in St. Louis with the Ballpark Village or out in Boston with Yawkey Way. But when you come to a Brewer game, get there early, because you will be amazed at how many people are sitting out there grilling and hanging out, playing games, listening to music. In fact, a couple of years ago, they had to enforce the rule that if you didn't go into the game by the middle of the first inning, they were going to kick you out, because so many people would go and just tailgate and hang out. And if you put a beer district in, you're going to ruin some of that. And I can promise you, just knowing who I am, that if they go that route, there will be a headline at the center square that says the Milwaukee Brewers want to charge you to drink the beer that you used to be able to drink for free. And we would go on from there. And so, yeah, the Brewers themselves aren't really excited about that. But you know how cities are when they see the opportunity for tax money, they very rarely let that pass.
Well, I have been there and done that, have tailgated a few times at Brewers games, and I know what you mean. I'm surprised you didn't mention grilling tubular meats But that'll be a conversation for another day. That's all the time we have. Listeners can keep up with this story and more at thecentersquare.com. For Ben Yount, I'm Dan McCaleb. Please subscribe, and thank you for listening.